All right, we're live.
Yay!
Live. All of us are here. This is weird.
We are here. We are here. We are here.
Yeah, we need a fourth. We're just discussing that offline, but
yeah,
man, I've been having fun. It's amazing the stuff that causes a shitstorm on YouTube.
Oh dear, what'd you do?
I made I watched a video like 2 or 3 times to make sure that I wasn't like being because I can be a dick, I can be an asshole. I don't deny it. I don't deny it at all.
Kissy face with Trump pisses people off.
This wasn't even that. It wasn't even political. I basically said this. I said so people put comments in some of the YouTube videos that say real content starts at, and then they put the timestamp, or they say, video starts at, or whatever, right?
These are the white knights that go on Hacker News and like find blogs with pop-ups and downvote the post just because.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, and some
How
of them,
dare you make money?
Some of them are just idiots and malicious, and some of them are just like innocent, like they don't know. They just think, oh, I'm going to help people out and leave a thing. I think I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. So I made a video and I was like, don't do it. I basically said, look, I know you think you're trying to help people out and it's cool and everything, but here's the thing, right? When you do that, it's disrespectful to me for multiple reasons. One, because I intended the video to start at 0. That's why I created the video. And I have sponsorship there, potentially, right? I don't want people to just skip that, to click your link and skip it. And I also said that also it's also insulting to me because some people say, oh, he's rambling on and the real content or the good stuff starts here, as if you're like, I said it's kind of like pirating stuff. It's like, saying, okay, yeah, John is full of shit, but then this is the good stuff. Here, let me just give you to the good stuff. This is what, right? And that's not how I created the content. That's not how I intended the content to, right? And so I basically just laid that out. It says disrespectful. It's like pirating stuff, right? It's like, because that's not the license that you've been granted to use the content, right? And so don't leave a comment that says that, or I will delete it and I will ban you from the comments. Okay. And that's pretty much, like, I wasn't even like harsh. I don't think I even used profanity in the entire video. I might have one time. I don't know. Like, so that's all. That's basically all that I said, right? And I didn't even say don't. And I talked about the money. I did talk about the money. I said, like, part of the ads and stuff finance the channel, and and whatnot, and it costs money to produce the channel, right? And it costs a full-time person, right? It's not cheap to put up 2 to 3 videos a day. That's an expensive process, right? So maybe I shouldn't mention that part, but anyway,
it's the reality.
People went absolutely ape shit. People went ape shit. The downvote, within 20 minutes of the video coming out, there was like 60 downvotes on the video and only 10 upvotes, right? It was crazy. And then people are putting all these comments. They're like, I'm unsubscribing, right? And I didn't say anything. And I didn't say, just to be clear, I didn't say to people, you have to watch all the ads or you're an asshole. I didn't say that. I just said, don't leave a comment allowing other people to skip the ad or to skip the content, right? Because that's disrespectful to me. If you want to skip the shit, if you don't like it, fine, go ahead and skip it yourself. Like, I can't control what you do. I don't care. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? But I don't want new people coming to the channel and then just clicking the thing and skipping the ads every time, right? So anyway, I didn't even say don't skip the ads personally, but people went absolutely ape shit. You can see all the comments, and so I came in there, okay, and this is where I did turn on asshole John mode, and I was like, I put a comment, and I was like, what I say, okay, I'm if you disagree, if you have a problem with this video, I'm ready, bitches. come get it, right? I'm ready. And people that said unsubscribe or like tried to call me out because of the video, I gave it to him. I gave it to him pretty harsh. I did. I really did. I came at them hard because they're disrespectful. Because all I did was make a simple request, like, this is my channel, this is my content. Don't leave a comment below that says skip the stuff, right? So anyway, I did give it to them hard there. but man, it was just a massive, like at one point it was like 90 downvotes to like 20 upvotes, and all these people saying I'm going to unsubscribe. And when people say I'm unsubscribe, I say, the fuck I care. Like, that's my response. Like, oh, you're going to, because if you're going to threaten me, like the worst thing you could possibly do is threaten me, right? It's like, you're going to threaten me with an unsubscribe. Hey, you're going to get the full, I'm a nice guy. Like if we're being respectful and we're cool, but as soon as you threaten me, all bets are off. I might start swinging. I don't know what the fuck. Like, you know what I mean? As soon as you start threatening me, all bets are off, right? So that's how I responded. But it was crazy. And then it started this, and this is what I was talking about earlier. It started this dog pile effect, right? Because the sentiment was that there were so many downvotes, people started rolling with that, right? So it was so what I ended up doing last night was I was like, oh, let's do like a live stream and let's talk. So I made a live stream called let's talk about the shitstorm on my YouTube channel with our shirts off. Let's take our shirts off and talk about, because I was going to take a shower and I was like, I had my shirt off. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just doing a live stream with my shirt off.
Oh man.
And so yeah, so we had a shirts off party, and I talked about it a little bit, and I did a live. It was fun. I love live stream because there was all kinds of cool people from my audience in there, and they were awesome asking questions. I actually really love doing live streams. It's really fun. But anyway, so it was good, and it was fun. I did about like an hour or something live stream, and then at the end of the live stream, I was like, okay, look, guys. You enjoyed this? You enjoyed this? Like, did you get value out of this? If you did, right, then here, I got a simple request for you. Let's show the haters and the bitches over on the other video that that can't like follow simple instruction. Let's show them what people who actually care about improving themselves and actually care about like helping other people and have a positive attitude, rather than these losers who whine because I asked them to not leave a comment on my fucking video, right? And let's go over there and let's show them the love, right? You know what I mean? And so my army went over and they upvoted the crap out of the video. So now it's almost an even upvote to downvote, and left all these comments, positive comments on there. Although some of them were markedly negative towards they gave him hell. So yeah, but that started the momentum the other direction. You see what I'm saying? And now people dogpiled onto that momentum and started upvoting the video. So
that's interesting.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, people are finicky. They are sheep, right? I mean, and I don't mean to like be like massively offensive, but just in general, people are sheep. And like, whatever the popular sentiment is going, whichever way it's going, right, you can reverse it, right? That's why we were talking about before we got on air about like Trump with the NFL thing. Is like, you can reverse a popular sentiment if you command a large enough audience, and you can actually, right, and then people will dogpile on that direction. That's just like, people just want to be on the winning side, and they're afraid, right? And then the other thing like about it too is I just did a video right after that, which I'll probably be airing like today, talking about like, it doesn't matter, and this is what like so many people will bend the other way, but I don't care if 100 people downvote the video and only one person upvotes it. I'm sticking by what I said. Like, if you live your life in such a way that you care so much what other people think, and if everyone says you're wrong, you must be wrong, then you're just gonna like bend over every single time. Like, the mass doesn't, just because popular opinion says you're an asshole, you're wrong, that doesn't mean that you back down and it's easy to succumb. And I felt it, like when that video first came out, my first reaction was like, maybe I should just delete this video. Right? Or maybe I should just issue an apology. I mean, that's weakness. Like, that's the first reaction. When you get a really harsh response for something, the first reaction is like, oh, that kind of hurt. Like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I did something wrong, right? And but you got to fight that, because otherwise you're just going to cower every single time, right? You got to stand up and you got to say, well, yeah, I take ownership for what I said, and I stand by it. So you know what? I don't care if it's popular or not. So. Anyway, there's my rant. There's my.
There's a little part of me, I call him Smartass Chuck, that wants to now go in and post a comment to your video that says comment starts, and then whatever the length is plus 5 minutes. Put that timestamp in.
I started a new movement of video starts at 0.:00.
Oh, really?
So a bunch of, it's like the way of showing your support is now people are putting that on videos. They're like,
and then
I should
people are gonna be like, "What the hell is this?"
I should make a T-shirt that says "Video starts at 0:00." Like no one will understand what the hell that means, like on the street. But
Nice.
yeah, and some people will be like, "Of course it does."
But I mean, am I living in insane, bizarre world, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys probably didn't see the video, but the original one that started the shitstorm, Josh maybe did. But it's just like seriously, like people are crazy about this.
I know,
Well, people want stuff for free. I get the same crap about sponsorships in the podcasts, and it's like, well, it's blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, then pull your phone out and skip forward.
Yeah,
they're too intrusive, and I'm just like, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go get a full-time job and then pay somebody out of my pocket? I mean, you're the one that's getting I get benefit out of it too, but you get benefit out of it,
right?
Anyway.
I'm sorry that your free shit wasn't wrapped in the proper package that you wanted. Like, didn't get delivered exactly how you wanted. I didn't have Amazon Prime shipping for your free shit. Sorry, you had to wait 3 days.
Yeah. Anyway,
what I think is funny about this too is just how we just are just continually get blindsided by this nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just never really know. You post something, you think it's, oh my gosh, this is going to be horrible. People are going to be hating all over this, and nothing happens. And then something like this, you just make some offhanded comment, and boom, supernova.
Yeah. Or you think it's funny. You're in New York, so you stand in front of Trump Tower and take a picture with the "Make America Great Again" hat. It was just kind of a gag. I mean, I was there. And people I didn't know you were a racist. I'm like, I missed the part where I was like pummeling an Indian person or something in front of Trump.
Why is it a sin to support the president of the United States of America? Like, I mean, this is how crazy it is, right? I'm not saying that you have to or you don't, but and you could be on either side of it. But why would you ever be like, oh, supporting the president it's like, well, maybe the dude is a president. Like, I mean, this is a little bit like, it's not like you're picking some, Ku Klux Klan member. It's like, hey, I mean, regardless of of what it represents. But it's just
maybe if I had if I hadn't put the hat over the sheet that was over my head. I mean, honestly, I'm just sitting there going, oh my goodness, I mean,
okay. Oh, go ahead.
But, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to wax too political, but I mean, people, they just look at it and it's like, well, I'm not getting exactly what I want, or you're not conforming to exactly what I think you should be. And
I got a book for you guys, because I've gone full libertarian at this point after reading this book. Although I do have one slight reservation with it, just on how it could work. But the principle I'm 100% on board with. It's called For a New Liberty, the Libertarian Manifesto. It's by Murray N. Rothbard. Someone on my channel had actually recommended it, and I downloaded it, and I listened to the audio. It's really, really good. Like, I think if you listen to this book, you'll become full libertarian. I think that's better. Like, I realized the problem with conservatism, and it outlines the history really, really well, because the left movement, now the liberal movement, right, is there. It's a new liberal movement. The old liberal movement, right, is Thomas Jefferson, and that was actually a conservative, what we call a conservative movement.
It was.
Right? It was, right. But both of them, what they're against, or what they're essentially a diametrically opposite of, is actually libertarianism, which is more freedom for people, right? And so it's kind of interesting though, because the libertarianism. What's that? Yeah,
it's less intervention. Yeah,
libertarianism at its core is essentially no government, no state, like that everything is private, that there's no need for state. And it sounds a little insane when you say that, but read the book if you get a chance, and you'll see it does make a lot of sense, right? And it's kind of interesting because I have a little bit of a different perspective of the United States after this, of some of the, like, you know, some of the things that maybe that we've been kind of fed a little bit about the greatness of the country. Not that the United States isn't you know, probably one of the, at least it's the greatest country in the world right now, right? But as far as freedom, but that's my opinion, at least. So I'm sticking with that. But but still, we've committed a lot of war atrocities that has been, right, in the name of creating of government intervention. Which, so anyway, I don't want to again wax too political here, but I think I'm pretty sold on the libertarian viewpoint at this point. Like I had never picked a party. Like I never really classified as Democrat or Republican. I've always been like, you know, and what I found that most of the things that I actually believe are libertarian. So
yeah, but the Libertarian Party doesn't actually represent those ideals.
True, yes, but the book does.
Yeah,
tells you what it is. So,
but anyway, we're really getting off on a tangent here. So John blew up his business by telling people to support his business on YouTube.
I'm seriously thinking, like, one thing though that came out from this is I am seriously, we'll have to talk about this, Josh, but and I was actually thinking about this ahead of time, because when I was at that Thrive conference, someone I was talking with some YouTube guys and some YouTube experts, and I was thinking about completely taking off ads off of YouTube because it does stunt the growth. And I don't know how much, I mean, right now, like,
do you just mean monetization or that and sponsorship both?
I'm kind of like leaning to both. Right. And what I would think with that is that,
we can test that pretty easily. I mean, like, if we should turn off monetization for a month, just like that would be the easiest thing. And if we see a major surge in growth, then we'll know, and then we could talk about the in video ads as well.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't seem to make much difference, then it's probably not worth it.
Because we're making, like, I mean, you know, somewhere around, I think, $1,700, $1,800, maybe even if it's $2,000 a month on YouTube monetization on the ads. And that's, I mean, it's hard because it's like, it's $2,000, but at the same time, it's not a huge amount of our revenue. Right. And if instead of doing that, I just made a few more videos, if people watched the video from the beginning and didn't see, and they had more credibility, right? If I plugged a few products a little bit stronger, like we planned videos and I said, okay, I'm going to talk about how to market yourself. And we've had real good success with me talking about Pluralsight. We've had really good success with me doing the 10 steps to learn anything quickly. When I did that video, we sold a bunch of it. But if I do that kind of stuff, then it comes from a more authentic place. And then we're selling our own stuff, which we can sell harder because they're our own stuff. And then if we look at our sponsorship, as far as the external sponsorship, I mean, I think, like, I mean, we were getting like $1,000 a month sporadically, or 2,000. So again, maybe our total sponsorship on YouTube with all the ads is maybe 3,000 to 4,000 a month, which, I don't know if we could overcome, if
like 10% of our revenue.
But if we could overcome that by selling more product through YouTube, let's say at $2,000 a month, I think we could do that potentially, and our growth was faster, and we didn't have any bias. Like, I mean, you know, I'm like, people don't understand. Like, I say fuck shit. I say, like, as far as like sponsors, you know, sponsors for, and you know this, Josh, but people don't understand it, is that, like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I want to put this in the right words, but I love the sponsors. I care about the sponsors. I want them to be successful, but I am not going to filter anything I say at all in regards to sponsors. I just won't do it. Right. If they want to pull the sponsorship, it's totally cool. It's totally cool. But that's always been my principle on the YouTube channel, because it's a slippery slope. I will not, you know, even if I have to make a video that advertises a boot camp, but then I say boot camps suck, I'm going to say boot camps suck, because if that's what I believe. So, but people assume there's a bias. So I don't know. I've just been thinking about that a lot with this whole shitstorm going down. Again, not succumbing to pressure, but just, I don't know, you know, maybe like if we can accelerate the growth and we can sell our own product better, then that it might be worth it.
Have you seen any like actual case studies on whether monetization and ads hurt growth? Because for me, like, I mean, at least the way I use YouTube, the ads make no difference whatsoever. I don't even really notice them. It wouldn't influence me in the way I consume a channel. I don't typically, I'm not a channel subscriber though, so that might be a factor. I'm going to go in and look for specific topical videos and watch them. And I really couldn't care less whether there's an ad or not. So yeah, whether you've seen anything.
And it might,
we should do some research. Popular, like just everyone assumes it hurts growth, or is somebody actually proven it out?
Well, like you said, we could test it. We could turn it off for a month.
I'd be game. We could do that today. I'd be totally game with that. Just we could do it for 2 weeks and see if we see, or a month or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that might be worth. Our
growth has slowed a little bit anyway, so that would be a good might be a good way to give it a kick in the butt.
I think the growth slowed a lot because we didn't I haven't made very SEO friendly videos for programming topics, but yeah, I think that would be worth doing. We'll have to talk about the timing of it, because the other thing is I don't want it to appear that I'm succumbing to pressure, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Right. You need to let an internet minute go by, which is about 10 seconds, and everyone's attention will be elsewhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but I don't know. I've been thinking about that a little bit. The other thing is, like, we'll have to do the research on it too, because it may be the opposite. The other thing is, like, maybe YouTube doesn't promote your videos if you don't have ads in it, because it doesn't benefit them at all. So it could actually hurt. So there might be some way to optimize it, which we could look into. But anyway, it's just something I've been thinking about. Like, I think, if we can, and plus, ultimately the best place for us to be with Simple Programmer is that we are making the largest portion of our revenue from product sales.
Right.
And affiliate is okay as well, because we are in control of that. But sponsorship is, you have to keep on chasing, and there's always the potential of the conflict of interest type of thinking.
Right.
So
I'm game. You can do it.
All right. Just like, I don't even care. Like, you so many fucking dumpster fires. What are you going to burn today? Go for it.
Yep.
You got to be reckless though. To like, you do. You have to. Otherwise.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% on board with the, not. So for me, like, if we're going to do sponsorship, what I care about is working with sponsors to try to make sure they get value out of it.
Right.
Exactly. They're not just paying money. But I'm 100% on board with, I don't want that money to in any way influence what we do.
Yep.
I don't want to change our message at all. This is coming from my background in journalism, right? And the supposed ethic that journalists have, where there's supposed to be a firewall between editorial and advertising, and it's in theory, at least, that's not supposed to be breached. So
yeah, but it's hard sometimes when you're both. So
yep.
Yeah. So
I've been working on advertising.
All right. What's going on?
So at this point, I have the app. I talked about it last week. I have the app almost.
You're working on that. I'm excited about this.
I've got it almost done. So at this point, it's funny because I solve one problem and then I have to go refactor stuff to make it work. And anyway, it's been kind of interesting. But at this point, you can create episodes in the system. You can assign sponsors to them. You can actually assign sponsors to episodes that aren't in the system yet. So it just projects based on when you tell the system you release episodes. And anyway, so at this point, I can probably I already have it set up to where you can select a bunch of sponsorship spots and then just say, assign them to a sponsor, or in the sponsor's case, buy these spots. So at this point, I'm just kind of getting the rest of the polish together so that sponsors can come in, sign up, and get sponsor spots. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm going back and forth a little bit because I would like to set up a page for like the podcasts that are in the system where a sponsor could come in and like look at Ruby Rogues without having an account.
Oh, okay.
And pick the spots that they want and then check out. And when it checks out, it says, you need to pay for that. And you need an account to manage it instead of making them sign up and then select. And so I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. So that comes at the end of the funnel you're collecting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's either, sign in or sign up. But anyway, it all works through Stripe right now. And then, I want to put some features in so that it's basically, here, put in the talking points for the sponsorship ad here, or if you have a script you want to, propose to the podcaster, you can put it here. And then there's a place for the, podcaster to upload an audio file, and so it's, hey, I recorded one, can I get some feedback? And so then it sends emails to each person and says, hey, there's an update to the sponsorship
nice
setup. And that way, you can collaborate on it before it goes live. And I've got 3 or 4 sponsors that either have sponsored in the past or are new sponsors that are pretty interested, and I've just kind of been holding them off a little bit so that I can get this done, because I want to just say, hey, look, go pick what you want.
Yeah.
And so anyway, most of the problems have actually been solved by creating another entity in the system. So for example, right now, a sponsor is both an account that you can sign in with and the brand that they represent. And so I'm gonna divorce those, so that because what I'm running into right now is I want to be able to add the sponsors I currently have without necessarily having to invite them to the system, because I already have everything that I need for them. Right? I already have the banners, I have the ad reads, I have everything else, and so I want to be able to put that in and then invite them in and say, hey, look, I'm managing things through here. Or whenever the next sales cycle is. So like, Linode signed up through the end of the year on all these shows. And so I can basically come to them in November and say, hey, I've been managing ads this way for a while. Do you want to pick it up? See, just stuff like that, and just make that work and figure that stuff out. The issue that I'm running into at this point is that I feel like I know that I have all this stuff to do, right? Because I sat in on a conversion webinar on Wednesday that Jamie put together, my business coach, and I'm realizing that I need to overhaul devchat.tv.
We'll do this first.
Yeah,
do this first for sure. Right.
I feel like it's like this, and then I have these big, huge things to do, and it's tough to, it's like, okay, well, one thing at a time, figure it out. And I don't have the funds at this point to pay somebody to overhaul it for me.
Right.
And, I talked to the guy that did the Simple Programmer thing, and it was just a little bit beyond him, the guy that did your website. So, I'm trying to figure that out on my own.
Lewis?
Okay. I think that, Lewis. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, but Lewis, it was, awesome. He's like, yeah, what you're asking me for is a little bit beyond what, what I was able to do for Simple Programmer. So I've found some shortcuts to some of it, but I'm still figuring some of that out too. So anyway, just things to figure out. But I feel like if I can get kind of these core pieces together, right? So the sponsorship stuff, I'm still going to have to do some work outside the app, like recording the sponsorship ads and things like that. And, the podcast production process, which, you know, Eric handles kind of the big pieces of, which is editing and show notes. But, you know, I want to do like outreach to the guests and get them to share and, you know, automate a lot of that work. And so, you know, posting it to like Hacker News and, you know, some of the other sharing websites out there, and make sure that, you know, people are seeing it come up.
Yep.
And so all of that stuff is stuff that I would like to build into kind of a process system. You know, I'd also like to have a better way of gathering the information for the show notes from the guests and co-hosts. And so, you know, I put that together, you know, and just anyway, so I have these things that I want to put in that are all kind of part of the process. And so I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going to make the impact, right? Where do I focus my attention next? Mm-hmm. You know, I also want to start getting some products out there, you know, some things that are going to help developers. And, you know, again, I mean, every time I try to split my focus from like this app to the summit or something else, right? Because I have Ruby Dev Summit next week. It seems like I always lose something in the transition.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating to try and manage all that stuff.
Well, the automation is definitely huge. And I mean, this is why you went through all the pain that you've gone through with, you know, firing people and stuff, is to get to this point where you're building a true system that you own, that's proprietary, that is your competitive advantage. That is the key. That is the differentiator. That's the key of business. That's what makes you an entrepreneur, is that right there. So that's definitely, like, I am 100%, that's your number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as products, one way to get into that, here comes my bias alert, John bias alert, is instead of creating products first, and this is something that Josh and I have been talking about, and we started kind of doing, right, with some of the stuff. We haven't totally been able to make this super successful yet, but do affiliate to start. Find dev products, right? We have some.
I have a bunch.
Yeah.
If you have affiliate programs that Simple Programmer, I totally do that too.
Yeah, and do that for now, and then you can play with ideas and see which ones sell and which ones convert, right? To your audience, and then you can create products similar to those to replace affiliate ones when you're ready, rather than feeling like, because that will get you an immediate boost, right? You're not going to make as much money. It's harder to sell someone else's product, of course, but that will give you an immediate income stream, as opposed to you having to wait and create the products and on all those. You can still go and create them and then replace them. So we're still trying to like figure out how to get some of that pieces to work. But I think that's the way to do this kind of a thing.
So. Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And there are definitely some things in motion that I can pull together there. And then I don't have to go through the process of creating the product. You know, I can short circuit that bit of things and get the funnels figured out. And then I can, you know, once I know how to do the funnels and do the sales and do the launches and everything else better, then I can turn around and say, okay, I've got this product, and do my own launch. And then I make all of the back end profit too.
Exactly.
Just the affiliate commission.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, it also makes it easy because then I can essentially add a spot on the web page somewhere where I can just say, you know, promote this deal here. And so when I set up the episode, it's okay, you know, go check out blah, blah, blah. And so if it's a course on Pluralsight, or if it's Dave Thomas's Elixir course, or if it's, you know, something else, you know, or a book on Amazon or something that's related to it, then I can just go and pull all that off. Yeah, that's interesting. But right now I'm just I kind of just need the pep talk of, hey, look, you know, it's a lot of work, and it's, you know, there's a lot going on, but just keep doing what you're doing, one thing at a time, right?
That's the key, because honestly, like, once you get this done and you get the sponsorship system in place, you will have more cash flow because you don't have to pay people to do it, and you don't have to spend your time. So you'll have more bandwidth, and so you're freeing up resources, and you're creating, you know, something that is going to be of high value to you in the future. I mean, you can, you know, instead of being like a 3 or 4 man operation to do you're able to knock it down to a 2-person operation in order to get all the podcasts out. That's pretty freaking awesome, right? That's, you know.
And I would also push back just a little bit on the idea of you desperately having a need to rework your funnels right now, because the majority of your income is coming from big fish, right?
That's true.
The big fish
sponsorship,
the big fish, like the little fish are the ones where you really need, like if you're building a fish trap, right, where you need the fine mesh is when you're catching like a bunch of minnows, right? You don't need to catch, like, you know, a sturgeon. You don't need like this really detailed, finely built trap.
Yeah.
Because they're going to find their way into the freaking thing almost no matter what. Like they want to get, these people want to get in touch with you. So like optimizing things to make that side of your business better right now is 100% the way to do it. And later, like you're like 80 or 90% B2B right now. And building this software, it makes that B2B process better for you.
Right.
Getting devchat.tv, like, you know, your email capture and all that stuff fine-tuned will be great. And it's going to help you build up the B2C side of your business. But right now, I think staying focused on that, on the B2B,
I agree.
Big fish makes a lot more sense. So
I definitely agree. Yeah, I need to get that's where I'm making my money. So yeah, if I can get that piece as buttoned down as possible.
Yep.
Then I can open things up on the other end, right? Then it's like, oh, now I have time to go and
and even
those other bits.
And even, you know, I mean, even once you get that too, like, I mean, really, I would be weighing, if I were you, I'd be saying, okay, what is really the best time and resource spend? Because it's probably to keep going B2B. Because I, in my mind, like if I'm you, what I'm doing is I'm getting the system in place, because that's definitely number one. And then once you have the system in place, then it's like, okay, I'm adding new podcasts, because that's a guaranteed, right? Like, I mean, if you think about it, let's say that you added 20 new podcasts to your empire. How much now you've got more, now you're able to utilize this thing you're building, right? The thing you're building right now, it has a certain amount of value, and I think it's high value for your company. But if you have 20 more podcasts, the value that it provides multiplies. Right.
Yes,
so so that's why. And now you have a huge surface area. You can get more sponsorship. You can make more money until that saturates. I mean, there's a point probably where you hit the point where you're like, look, even if I had more shows and more episodes and more, like there's not enough demand, there's not enough sponsorship. That's when I would move to the B2C, right? I mean, I'd have definitely the email collection in the meantime, but I'd be focusing on let's see how big I can make the podcast empire part of it. And then, you know, so you can be the dominant player, because once you're the number one in the world, right? And I mean, I think you kind of already are, right? I mean, I don't know if a software development podcast syndicate that's larger than you. So maybe there is. Maybe
that makes Chuck sound like a crime lord. I love it.
But I need a cat to pet and make my eyes water.
I run the syndicate.
But that's where I'd be really, really focusing.
Yeah,
I mean, so yeah, Chuck, it's a little bit like we've had the conversation about kind of the screencasting business, and like I look at Pluralsight, and I don't want to build. I mean, they've done it. I don't want to go and try to build that business. I don't really want to be in that business, right? You're kind of looking at kind of looking at our business and like thinking about, do I want to build that, right?
Right.
And there's
some degree, yes, but not.
There's advantages to it, and there's disadvantages. And you know, with if I were in your shoes, I would not be necessarily looking to replicate what we're doing.
I don't want to replicate everything you're doing, but yeah. At the same time, you know, I mean, I keep thinking it'd be nice to be able to capture the revenue off of some product, you know. But
right. Well, yeah, but it's just it's taken two of us working many long hours to generate that passive income, right?
If you can land more big fish, that's going to be a better thing for you. I just think,
because you're essentially starting from zero, right? So, and when John got to with Simple Programmer, it made sense because he'd already built the traffic engine that was a B2C traffic engine. And so it made sense to just, to go right into doing the products. That makes perfect sense. With what you've got, you're more biased towards the B2B end. So
this is that whole gold mine analogy that I like to use, right? It's like this other thing is shiny, right? You've got a gold mine, you've put up the little, entrance to the gold mine, you've dug it down, you've got the mining cars, right? You're mining some gold out of there, but now you're looking over and you're like, fuck, I should have that other hill over there. I bet there's diamonds. More gold in that. Yeah. Right? And you're like, you know what? Let me go over to this other hill. But you got to dig a hole again. Then you got to you haven't hit the mother lode. Once you hit the mother lode in your current mine, and you're extracting the rich ore, and then it starts to run out. You're like, okay, we got this is there's no more ore here to be mined. Then go and start the next gold mine. But right now, but it's tempting. It's tempting because it's like, oh, this is interesting to me. What I'm doing right now with this current gold mine feels like a grind, but you got to grind for now until you get to that point where you're like, where it makes sense. Grind.
Yeah. I think the other thing though is that, I mean, I guess eventually I could get to the point where it's all basically automatable. I mean, the only thing I really have to do is keep recording the podcast. In other words, keep putting fuel into the machine, that goes down and extracts the gold, and then drive the gold over to the vault, kind of thing, right? So I'm involved to that degree, and then I don't really want to watch Netflix all day, so then I go build the B2C end,
right?
Because I have the time, and that's kind of the next big thing that I can work on, because everything else works, right? There's the whole, the gold comes out, it all just kind of works. I have to do a few sales calls. I have to keep making the podcasts. I have to, keep the production running, but that doesn't take up all my time.
But so you got to make new podcasts, because once you have that infrastructure in place,
but
each crop you plant has +2 added to it. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like all of your what should we call it? All of your elves get +5 attack power. So you want to make more elves, right? Because you're getting all elves get +5 attack power. So let's make more fucking elves. Let's not make there's our
a mixed
title
metaphor.
For this episode is let's make more effing elves. Eric, timestamp it. Episode starts at
my elves get +5 attack power to go down into the mine and attack power the gold out of the mine or anyway. No, I totally agree, right? So you find other veins that you can mine out. But the thing is that starting new shows and finding new sponsors, I think, is just going to become easier and easier.
Exactly.
And so it's still not going to take up all my time. So I will have some of these other options once I have everything, kind of clicking along in systems that are just automated, or I have somebody else managing and things like that.
And in the meantime, so the way I would think about this in the meantime is do what you can to like an email list is like kinetic. What's the potential energy, right? It's stored. So whatever you can do to build your social media and email lists, that is capturing the majority of what you're doing now for later.
Right. Because if I launch another show.
Because you're not missing out. Don't feel like you're missing out. Like you're storing all that up, and then if you have a 50,000 or 100,000 people on your email list in 2 or 3 years, because you've got all these shows, well, now you're positioned for an actual, 6 or 7 figure launch on something.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if you do it now, you're going to do all the work and you're going to make $30K. which isn't bad, but so don't feel like you're missing out.
Yep. And my list, by the way, has been growing like crazy once I got Drip turned back on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then because it got down to, I think, 11,000 people, and Drip got it back up to, just turning it back on, got it back up to 13,000. And then
wait, Drip turning your Drip was turned off? What do you,
the pop-ups?
The opt-ins were all disabled.
Oh,
I'm not sure how that happened, but I got them all went right back up. Okay. But then and I don't know what that means for my list churn, but anyway, and then the conferences added another 2,000 people. So I'm almost at 15,000 subscribers now, and it's growing pretty nicely. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. But
yeah, let that baby simmer.
Yeah. I feel like I need to do something to keep the list warm, but I don't know what that is.
Just keep sending out your announcements of the episodes for now, right?
Yeah, I should.
Maybe once a month have some kind of email. I mean, that's what I like, because you don't want to devote too much energy to this, because you're not really going to be utilizing the list yet.
Right. I guess if I had some new sponsor or like affiliate thing that I could sell to them on the list, I could periodically come out with a campaign about it.
The best thing that you could use your list for, honestly, is, again, I'm going to keep on harping on the same exact thing, because I think because this is your growth factor, is when you create a new podcast, is getting people to be aware of it. Because when you have a list of 50,000 people, see, cause now you've got a seed audience, and you're like, hey, I got this new podcast, it's about this, and then a bunch of people seed that new podcast, and it's already getting downloads, and it spreads, and you're like, share the news. That's value right there.
Oh man, you're gonna make so many people mad though by using your fan base as a click farm. John, did you see that comment? It was so I sent out a survey this week about this was interesting. So I sent out a survey on Tuesday asking, like, doing a little poll, and I sent an email, and it was really short. It just said poll, subject line poll, question: have you bought the Complete Software Developer's Career Guide yet? Yes, no. And when you click to the links, to the yes and no links, it took you to a survey with like one extra question, like, when did you buy it, or why not, basically, because I wanted to get some objections. And this one guy wrote this rant, and he was like, I was very offended by the way that John Sonmez used he called it a code base, but I think he meant fan base, his code base to launch, to get a bunch of, get visibility and clicks on this book when he launched it. And he was just he went off about this. And he's like, the book should stand or fall on its own. If he had any talent, he would, it's like,
that's right. You have to count on the magic publicity elves.
Yes.
To let people know about your stuff.
Right.
If you promote it, that is just uncool.
The best response, though, the best reason why of not purchasing, this is like Dave Letterman's top 10, the number one reason, objection, for why I did not purchase John Sonmez's The Complete Software Developer's Career Guide is because the guide is a nigger's guide. That was an actual response.
What?
Yes.
I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, that was the number one most okay.
Well, there goes our family friendly rating.
Yeah. Oh, that's been gone for a while. That's been gone. Ever since John decided to take the gloves off.
If people are going to get butthurt about saying a word, using it in a not even talking about a person context, just
well, you're quoting somebody else too,
quoting someone else, then they really like, their life is going to be really hard because of that thin level of skin. They should stay out of the sun. So
but so this email that I sent out actually sold more copies of the book than any other email that I've sent, and there wasn't even a link to buy the book. Because normally a lot of times I can't even tell. I'll send, if I send an email to promote the book, I can't even completely tell if it worked or not. Like sales, there's not enough of a bump that I can go, yeah, that really worked. This one, there was a pretty decent spike.
Oh, that's funny.
I actually put it into an automated sequence now. So every time somebody comes into and subscribes to the the book campaign, they're going to get this email after a couple weeks. So can't hurt.
I'm starting to lean more towards the, I guess what Seth Godin would call permission marketing aspect of it, less of the copywriting type of tactic marketing, and more of the organic type of, I think like I'm seeing a lot of people doing this now. Like Grant Cardone is one. He does like live streams, I think like every day now, and he sells stuff on the live stream, and he does it so good, because the thing about it is like, and I was thinking about it as I was doing the live stream last night, I gained so much credibility with my audience when I did the live stream, because I'm answering people's questions and we're having a good time. And there's like, and so when I mention something, oh, you need to, go check out the real estate product or something like that, I feel like people are more open to it, because there's no trick there. It's just like, it's more of a natural thing. So, I mean, I think there's a balance. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand that marketing tactics and whatnot, and, all of the stuff for long time copywriting works. But I think that, again, and we're doing some of this with revamping some of the pages too, but I think that, things like this, like the survey, show that kind of that indirect approach and maybe it's just our audience. Maybe it's because it's more of a personality type of audience that works. But I'd like to explore this more.
The number one thing is in any marketing situation is trust.
Trust, yeah.
And there's a ton of different ways to build trust, and a lot of the copywriting techniques that are used are designed to build trust quickly in a cold audience.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot like I'm writing an email every day for the list now, and I think that over time, like I'm already seeing our customer lifetime value inching up.
Yep.
From doing that. And I think I'm just gonna commit to doing that for a while now, and measuring the results and seeing if I think it'll be worth it for us, because the consistency is huge in terms of building trust.
Yeah, and they're good trust building emails, right? I mean, these are like, you're telling stories, you're sharing the things that are happening.
Sharing so the negative reviews we got. Exactly. We got a 1-star review. John was like I think he was. Were you mad about, were you kind of annoyed last week when you sent me because we got 3 1-star reviews in one day, and John was he's like, oh, I think somebody's got a campaign going.
Yeah, this is obviously orchestrated, right? When 3 1-star reviews show up back to back in one day,
we only had one since the launch. That was what was funny. So I was reading, I read them, and there was one, and it was 1 star, absolute crap. And then he goes on this rant about how he would punch John, how he hates John so much he would punch him.
He said, if I ever saw the author, I would punch him in the face.
Yeah. And he called
coffee.
he called the audience a bunch of mind-numbed robots, basically. And he said it was a strange online cult of a mindless cult. And so yeah, I totally had fun with that.
Yeah.
An online cult, you can get an insurance plan for that group now. Sorry, I should leave the politics out of it, but anyway, that's funny. Well, people, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people have time to.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, what button got tripped and that they're going to spend 10 minutes writing that? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, or if somebody's out there actually actively campaigning against it, right?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I wish I had that kind of time.
It's good though, you know what? Because stuff like this, even like I said, the video from yesterday with the whole shit storm, I got so much engagement. YouTube loves engagement. Yep. I was people arguing this and arguing that, and it's fine. Yeah. Guys, all right, so did we lose maybe 100 subscribers out of 120,000 subscribers?
Right.
Okay. All right. We lost the worst subscribers. You just made room for the good subscribers. Like, you know, I don't mind losing the 100 of my worst subscribers, of the lowest scum of the earth, in order to get a high engagement. Fine. That's great. Awesome. Like, you know what I mean? So it's good. I mean, controversy is good, right? I mean, people, what they mean for harm ends up turning out for good for you. There's no such thing as bad press, right? It's like, that's the truth. So
yeah,
it's when people aren't talking about you and they don't care, that's when you got a problem. So.
That's true, because most people, it's apathy that really keeps people from coming back.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, that's why the people on the left are still talking about Trump. Right? It's because they care one way or the other, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. They care one way or the other. Exactly. Yep.
He makes it impossible not to care.
Yeah, you got to choose. You got exactly. Yep. And that's the way. That's the way to run a media campaign for sure. Any kind of. It was Tupac. All eyes on me. Is that what he said? All right. Anyway, shall we?
I was going to say we should probably get to thoughts, because I'm taking my wife and son and daughter to lunch today. So.
Oh, real quick announcement. I got my video equipment. So I have a C100, and you can see there's a boom mic here. So doing some high quality videos.
What is a C100?
It's a professional. It's not actually a DSLR. It's actually a video camera. So
okay.
So far it's a little bit clunky. My system doesn't work quite as well, but it's a much higher quality. So I've got professional lighting rig and all this stuff, and so I'm almost set up now with this. So I started shooting high quality videos yesterday. So
Rodrigo's computer has slowed to a grind.
Yeah, but at least
he can now process one video per day instead of 3. So.
At least we helped him get a new computer. So I got to ask him how that's going with his new computer. So if it's faster. All right. Should we do our thoughts then? Unless anyone else got something.
I'm good with thoughts. Let's do it.
Okay. Let's see. I'll go because I got one. So my thought is I'm just going to go with stand your ground. So again, with this YouTube, it was a good test. I mean, like I said, it's easy to buckle, especially to popular opinion, especially when it's against you. And I'm not saying that you can never admit that you're wrong. And there's plenty of times I'm wrong in life, but I'm never going to be forced into saying I'm wrong when I don't think I'm wrong, just because people don't like it. And I think that it's the coward way out. And if you live your life that way, you're not going to respect yourself. And so I don't care if the whole world is against me. If I believe what I'm saying is right, I'm always going to stand by what I say. Now, I could revise it. I could decide that I'm wrong in the future. But if I decide I'm wrong on something, it's because I made the decision, not because people pressured me, coerced me, or threatened me. And so stand your ground. I think that's a principle that we've gotten away from. And the bigger your audience is, the more that it becomes more difficult, because you have more pressure, because more people are telling you that you're wrong and that you're full of shit. And, and it's real easy to, like I said, to buckle, apologize. And you see this so much in the media today. You see all these people that they get bullied and then they apologize. But it's not a true apology, because they're not really sorry. They're sorry that they're getting hurt by people, that people don't like them. They're not sorry for what they said or what they did. They would have stood by that, but they're succumbing. And the more weak, backbone, spineless people that we have, the more that we're going to be crushed and trampled by the stronger. So yes, it's painful sometimes, but you got to stand your ground, and never let external pressure influence your decisions.
Yep. I think for me, I mean, the main thing that kind of came out of this call and the thing that I've kind of been just looking at lately is really just that focus, right? You know, a lot of times our thoughts are connected, and this time it's not the case. But you know, it's what's going to make the biggest difference, and then just going after it, right? And that's what I'm doing, you know. And yeah, you know, I spent the morning. I got up at 5 and I answered a whole bunch of emails. Most of them were about the conferences, the online conferences. But you know, that's the payoff, right? Is that I get this one part of things handled and out of my way, and then I can focus on the next chunk, and I can focus and really just get down and get that taken care of and out of my way, and then I can move the next piece out of my way. And then what's interesting is yeah, then to the extent that I know how to handle all of these situations, then I can capitalize on having mastered those things, and I can multiply it across all of the other things that then I want to do that fall into those categories. And so, yeah, I mean, that's essentially what I'm working on. It's just that, you know, and we talked a little bit about this, but, you know, I run into some weird bugs in the software, or, you know, I was hoping to have it done last week and it didn't get done last week. And I was hoping to have it done last night, but I got tired and I went to bed, you know. And so just stuff like that, you know, where it's like, you know what, I was doing more damage than good. And so I went to bed. And, you know, this is the stuff that I have to deal with. And these are the things that I have to learn from. But yeah, just having that focus and just getting that handled, you know, just one thing at a time. And how much time have I spent fiddling around because I wasn't focused on it? I wanted to make somebody else focus on it so I could go do what I wanted. And that turned out to not be the right answer. The right answer was for me to focus in, figure out how to solve the problem right, and then I can find somebody else to handle the little pieces that are easy to handle and easy to monitor, that I don't have to then, you know, that aren't automated. So anyway, just get that focus, and then just focus on getting it right.
Yep. Nice.
So mine's a little bit related to that, Chuck. So the classical definition of an entrepreneur is someone who takes resources from an area of lower yield and moves them to an area of higher yield. And I've been thinking about that in terms of like the skills, like where I'm put my particular focus. And for I've been really, you know, for a while there, I think my highest value contribution was like kind of copywriting, right? Because we didn't have that. We needed that. Lately, I've been feeling like I've been trying a lot of stuff, and it's been like, you know, shuffling. I've been shuffling, shuffling pieces around, and you know, 1 + 1 is 3. 1 + 2 is 3. 2 + 1 is 3. And I think really, what I need to be focusing on here now is like product creation and just the offers that we have. Because so in that, there's that, I've talked about that equation where list is 40%, offer is 40%, copy is 20%. For right now, I think we've kind of maxed out what that 20% can do for us.
Yeah.
And so putting more effort and focus onto figuring out like what our products really should be, and you know, how we could structure them so that we can get more value for the work that we're putting into them. Like that's really where I need to be focusing my time. Mm-hmm. And so what I thought was my highest value skill set, you know, actually coming up with a killer offer is a higher value skill set than copywriting. And, you know, and so I'm kind of making that mental shift right now. It's stripping my gears a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's true.
Well, and it's hard, right? Because the copywriting thing is not just, hey, you know, this has been paying off, so you've been being rewarded for it for a while,
right?
But it's also it's a comfortable place to be because you're good at it. Exactly. And so now you have to go get into the stuff that you're not good at, and sometimes that's really tricky. I mean, right. I hadn't written serious code for probably a year or so, and I went through kind of the same thing. I mean, it's something that I was good at, and I feel like I am good at, but I had to struggle with it for a while.
Right.
You know, and it's the same thing with a lot of other things in our businesses where, yeah, you move you move to that place of low yield, and you have to figure out how to till the ground before you can even get the seeds in.
Yep.
So yeah.
Cool. All right, guys.
Alrighty.
Been fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
We'll go start some more fires.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.